Hi, in this video I would like to talk about Prettier and ESLint, tools that will help us during development. Before we get into things, just make sure that you've installed corresponding VS Code extensions. These are Prettier, that one, and ESLint, that one. Okay, now I'm gonna use exactly the same project as I used for Node.js video. So I'm gonna open this My Project folder, and inside this project I have another file.js, and one dependency installed, which is Minify. Now let's get started. What is ESLint? ESLint is a tool that will check our JavaScript code for any errors, and this tool is configured by a config file. So let's see it in action. If I go to Google and type ESLint, then I will go to Getting Started in our official web page. I can see that it comes as an npm package. So let's use this command and install it to our project. I'm going to open integrated terminal and install this ESLint dependency. So while it is installing, let's see how we can configure it. So we can run this command, which is npx ESLint init. However, we will create our own config from the very start. So to create a new config, we simply need to create a new file. In the root directory, it is going to be .eslint rc. And this config has JSON format. So we need to open curly brackets, and here, if we open quotes, we will have IntelliSense. And we have this IntelliSense because we installed ESLint extension for VS Code. So it integrates very well, and the config automatically recognized by VS Code. Inside this config, we define rules that we want to be recognized by our code. So for example, we need to type rules, and here we specify rules that we want to see. For example, no unused vars. And this rule will give us an error in our code if we have any rules inside our code. So first we need to type rule name, and then what kind of notification we want to receive when we see an unused var. So we can turn off this rule completely, we can put error, and we can put warning. So let's put error here, and if we go back to file.js, we can see this warning saying parsing error, the keyword const is reserved. That's because ESLint by default, it does not know about latest JavaScript. So to fix that, we need to put one more option here. It is going to be parser options. And for this parser options, we need to put ECMAScript version. And let's put the latest one, which is 2020. If we save that and get back to the code, we will see no warnings. Now, about the rule that we set here, no unused vars. Let's create a new variable, const 5 equals 5. If I hover on that variable, I will see a warning saying 5 is assigned a value but never used by ESLint no unused vars. So that's it. That's ESLint. It simply checks our code for any rules that we define. If I turn off this rule by setting off here, I will see no warning at all. And if I put warning, warn, let's say, I will see not error but a warning. It is kinda tedious to define rules every time inside every project. That's why ESLint also comes with config files that we can extend. So by default, we can extend ESLint recommended config, which is the built-in config in ESLint. So we need to add this command to our config file. Let's add it on top of that. And as soon as we save it, we will have a set of rules defined in this config. So when we extend it, it means that there are some rules that will be used by default. That's it. That's basically all about ESLint. But let's disable this extension so we have no warnings at all. And let's remove this variable. Now, that's all about ESLint. What about Prettier? Prettier is a tool that will format our code when we save files. What I mean is that since we already have the extension, which is Prettier, it will work if we save the file. As you may notice, when I first opened VS Code, it was like that, it was unformatted. But when I hit save, it automatically formatted my code. That's because of extension, and extension has a default config that I'm using right now. Well, let's install Prettier as a dev dependency to our project and also define our own config file. To do so, I will go to Google and type Prettier. Then I will go to the official page, then go to Get Started. And as you can see, it is also available as an NPM package. So let's install that one. Again, I'm just going to copy and paste this command just like that. All right. Now, if I look inside package.json, I have two dev dependencies, ESLint and Prettier. Awesome. Now, what about the config file? Let's get back to the docs and let's look for configuring Prettier configuration file. Let's copy the basic one, and in VS Code, we are going to create a new file .prettier.rc, and I'll paste it here. So now, when I save this file, if I go back to file.js and hit save, now the code will be formatted against the rules defined in Prettier.rc, and it is automatically recognized. This configuration file is recognized by VS Code because of extension. Now let's change something, maybe tab width. Let's put something like 10. And if I go back to file and hit save, you can see that now I have this width of 10 spaces. So pretty cool. But the default is to put 2, something like that. That's all about Prettier. Now, there is one potential problem here, that Prettier and ESLint, they have some rules in common, and it might lead to a potential conflict. So for this reason, what we need to do, we need to go to Prettier configuration and go to integration part. So let's find it, integrating with linters. So ESLint is a linter. So as you can see, this ESLint section, disable formatting rules. So the only thing we need to do, we need to install one more NPM package. By the way, Yarn is a tool, something like NPM, but we will use NPM. So let's just copy this package name, go back to integrated terminal, and let's type npm install, then the name of this package, and save dev to install it as a dev dependency. Then it will be listed in our package.json as well. However, let's follow the tutorial. So the only thing we need to do, we need to type ESLint rc extends Prettier. So let's go to ESLint, let's put it on top like that, and that's it. Now we've successfully integrated Prettier and ESLint in our project. There is one more thing to do. Because we are using VS Code and we've installed extensions, that's why we have this real-time on-the-fly error check, and that's why we have this save to format opportunity. Well, for a person who doesn't use VS Code, he will not have such things there. So what can we do here? Since we installed ESLint, Prettier as dev dependencies, we can reference them in the npm scripts. So let's define two more scripts here to format and lint our files. So for Prettier, we will create a new script called format, and we will define next command, Prettier --write *.js. And when we run this command, it will format all JavaScript files for us. Then exactly the same command for ESLint, we will name it lint. But instead of write, we'll just type ESLint *.js, like that. Now, let's try it out. Let me go back to file.js. I'm gonna create a new variable, const5 equals 5, so we have an error. And now, in my terminal, I'm gonna run this lint command. So npm run lint. And now you see that I have one problem, one warning. 5 is assigned a value but never used. So it checked all our files against the script. So cool. Now let's delete this variable and let's see what is going to happen. So now we don't have any warnings, and indeed our output is empty. Cool. So now a person that doesn't have VS Code can successfully check the code against the rules defined in ESLint config. And the same applies for Prettier. If we, let's say, break indentation, maybe let's put a lot of spaces over here, and then if we save without formatting, and then if we run npm run format, you can see that the file has been formatted for us. Cool. So that's it. That's basically all we need to know about ESLint and Prettier integration inside our project. So we will use that one, and we will also extend different configs when we will scaffold a new React project. I hope you did like it. If you have any questions, just ask them down in commentary section.